All right, welcome to the Chair Company Files. This is Mike.
This is Carlos.
And oh boy, after last week's episode, which was almost in retrospect, in my hazy memory, seems like an after school, very special Willow episode, almost like a family episode. This one went completely the opposite direction, dude.
This one went bonkers. This one went weird, and we'll definitely talk about the ending. And it's like, I wouldn't say it's night and day because it did do something similar to the last episode, which is present a lot of information and take us down the rabbit hole further, right? I think it did a good job of that. But then it also did some pretty zany and chaotic stuff.
Chaotic, and makes me start to think, and this is going to be something we come back to throughout this podcast episode, makes me start to believe in a certain theory more than others. And I'll just kind of lay it out there. I'm starting to think this is like just a big dream sequence almost. We'll talk about why, but oh my gosh, it reminded me of a fever dream. So many of these bonkers scenes were so crazy and had all the hallmarks of what a dream is like. That's just kind of the theory I'm starting to believe more and more in as we go along throughout the season.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if it was episode 1 that I said it was in his mind, the Fight Club reference. Did I do that in episode 1?
There's a couple things. Like I think being crazy and having it in your mind, that's one, but also how he woke up in a hospital and he woke up again in the car. He kept going in and out, and we'll talk about this more. But when he talked about like the Scrooge references kept coming back, and then there's a couple references where he talked about selfies and how someone wanted to take his picture joined up with like kissing someone. Like they were presented in two different scenes in completely different ways, which makes me think, okay, that's like a dream. Where you ever have like a dream where you're dreaming all night or a nightmare and there's a thread that runs throughout the whole night.
Yeah.
You can't get it out of your mind. That's just what this felt like. And it was like the selfies and the Scrooge thing. And it was just so much like a dream.
I'm trying to find the movie real quick in real time. The movie that Joaquin Phoenix was in, it feels very much like that. Do you know what movie I'm talking about?
No.
And it's great to find it in real time.
That's what pre-episode internet research is for. But I guess
it isn't. I got it. The internet's fast. It's Beau is Afraid. Did you see that movie?
No.
So it's really disturbing, and it's got a lot of like intense moments. But there's a lot of the idea of him waking up and now he's in a new environment, and it is bonkers. And anybody who's listening to this episode and has seen the movie will see the parallels because there's the scenes which we'll get to in the bar and just kind of chase scenes and just madness happening that's in that movie, also is in David Lynch films. But Beau is Afraid, I think, is the best kind of like version of what we're seeing here, which is a lot of it was in his head and a lot of it was just like continual stream of consciousness stuff that just went on.
Yeah. Well, let's just talk through some of the scenes and we'll talk through these themes that we're starting to see pop up more and more and the theories that we're developing. But the whole episode starts where we left off, as often is the case. Overhead shot of the car driving in through the middle of the city. They're basically going to see Ken Tucker because they got a call from Steven Droyko, if you guys remember, at the end of last episode saying, I got this Ken Tucker guy. and Ron is amped up. He's ready to go.
Yeah. He thinks this is it. And we all think it's it too, because that's what the last episode says. Like, I got him. So we're all going, and it's one of those best, great fake out things where it's the most opposite thing that could be. He's not even there, and he's just a actor in a video game. And that's how he recognized him, because he saw him in a video game.
The cliffhangers are always less than you think they are.
Yes.
They're not a bait and switch, but like like the horror trope of like, oh my gosh, you got this thing. The drama of holding someone hostage, and then you go and it's this completely different thing. And it started me to think about, as I'm watching this today, the Robinson method, or whatever we want to call his way of making shows, is it's never what you expect it to be. And that goes down to each scene. When you bring it down to the atomic unit of how the show's built, every scene is unexpected. It's never what you expect it's going to be.
Right. Which leads perfect to an unexpected ending. I will say this one scene, this is kind of also like a high level thing. This one kind of intro scene at the bar revealed like 4 or 5 things, right? Like quietly revealed a bunch of stuff, which we'll get to. And it does that, but it also had a couple like I think you should leave sketches. So like the idea of the guy talking really quiet, and he's like, and he's trying to tell him an idea. And he's like, you've got to speak up. I can't hear you. Like that would be a whole sketch. Like the person you can't hear, and then the guy Mike, whatever, for being so infatuated with video game ladies. She's beautiful. That's a whole thing. It feels like a little mini sketch, you know. And then they deliver information that he was working there, and that's the scream from the bathroom was that guy. Doesn't even explain it though, right? What did he say? He got his hand stuck in something.
Yeah, the hand scene was funny, and it flashed back to when he's sitting on the toilet, which was crazy. And then also the quiet talk was something that actually happened twice in this episode in the first couple scenes. I don't know if you remember when he was sitting there outside saying goodbye to Natalie and her fiance, and they're getting in the car, and he gets the call from the exterminator and the bugs.
Yeah.
And his son is quiet talking.
Yeah.
And he's trying to listen in. So that reminds me of when you're in a dream, you can't hear everything. You're kind of straining to listen.
Interesting. That's true.
And then the double meaning of the bugs. The guys are looking for bugs, which actually he's worried the house is bugged, but then the bugs in the phone. Do you remember the bug crawled into the phone? We never followed up on that.
We never followed up on that. Yeah.
But like in a dream, words have double meanings. Like he's thinking of bugs and bugs in his house, but also bugs in the phone. It's just right. It lends credence to the whole dream sequence concept.
It really does. And just really quick to that idea. And we jump ahead sometimes in the show, but like there's a guy in this who has a dent in his head. And do you remember the flashback from last episode where they talked about the guy hitting his head in the Jeep tour?
Yep.
Could this all literally be from the Jeep tour? Like he hit his head, not another person, right?
Could be. Also, there's the whole theory that, Ron's life fell apart during this Jeep tour. He let the guy go back to his hotel. We talked about last episode, if the guy died, maybe he has this guilt that he's just feeling, and the guy with the dented head represents the guy that maybe got injured, the investor that he's speeding through the forest on. So it could either be Ron himself hurt himself, or it could be the guy and the guilt that Ron is carrying about that guy.
That's what I was going to say, because if it was him, like Mike, like at some point says like, hey, if you hit him a little too hard, he would have died. And they really focused on that. And then Ron was like, really? And he was like, almost like, you know what I mean? Like figuring something out. I feel like
a flashback to the guy with the dented head. So yeah, it was crazy. And so we have to at least mention Oliver Problo, I think the guy is that little actor who is Ken, the CFO. And that was the guy that they're trying to follow up on. The lucky break happens when, I don't know if you remember this part, but Mike decides to stay back in the bar because he's fixated on a girl who's in the video game.
In the game, which doesn't make any sense, but go ahead. Yes.
And then Ron is at his house and he gets a text from Mike, which this is the unlock on the title of the episode, which is called Zoom In.
Yeah, I won.
Zoom in. And he shows the name of the actor who's both Ken and he's also Humpty Dumpty. And the name of the actor is Oliver Problo.
Yeah. And that is one of my favorites, who is he delivered to what I wanted him to be, because again, and I think you should leave sketch. I love him. He's so weird. He's a fast talker. I'm like, I can't take my eyes off of him when he's on the screen. And he just did it. Like he played all the hits in this. When they finally talked to him, he felt like a walking sketch.
Yeah, he's such an eccentric character, and that's obviously part of the Tim Robinson universe, all these crazy characters. But as we said before, unlike just the I Think You Should Leave sketches, they're filling out these bigger roles, which is making it so delightful. This crazy character. And watching again on the rewatch, there's so many things I picked up on watching the second time. I'd encourage anyone who watches this episode to watch it a couple times because there's so many little nuggets.
Yeah.
But the crazy scene in the Coke bar and then following up at the house or the apartment, that was just such an insane couple scenes that, I mean, we should probably start talking through them now, but ultimately they try to go and find Oliver Problo and they end up in this bar and Oliver's sitting there fast talking, like you said, being the crazy character that he is. And then things just start to unravel and go crazy.
Well, they unravel with the weirdest thing, even for Tim, and I think you should leave. The idea that that guy's elbow was going to go in the soup. Like, by the way, again, I can't stop mentioning it, but that's David Lynch. Like, that's creamed corn. Like, I mean, this is like David Lynch territory. And you would see that in that, or like Naked Lunch, or some really weird esoteric films, you know? And so it doesn't even matter, but that guy gets mad about it. And he puts his elbow in the soup on purpose until it's not even in the soup anymore. He's just like pounding his elbow into just soup on the table. It just unravels so fast, and then it's just like we're off to the races.
Yeah, and again, when I get back to the fact that like no scene goes as you expected, who would have expected Tim's good deed of him telling a guy who's going to put his elbow in the soup would ultimately result in this guy with this dented head just threatening him and starting a fight with him. And then there's the whole component of Oliver being saying this is a Coke bar, then going into the bathroom to do a Coke deal.
Yeah, he's so natural about it. He's like, yeah, I just got to go get some Coke and then I'll just pay for it. And he pays for it with Scrooge money, which doesn't make sense again. And we'll come back at the end of the episode. But he's like, we got to get out of here. I paid with Scrooge money. What are you talking about, kid? What is going on?
Each one of these characters is in a little battle once they're in this Coke bar. Oliver is in the bathroom, and then he has the drama of paying with Scrooge money and then getting caught after the Coke dealer gets water on his money. Tim's with the dented head dude. And then finally, Mike, some guy out of nowhere, says he knows who he is and wants to take a picture of Mike and take a selfie because he thinks some people would be very glad to know that Mike is back in town.
That's right. I forgot that one because so many things were happening. I forgot that one. Wow. That's a lot.
Well, when I say there's literally almost 2 back-to-back scenes of someone wanting to take a selfie or take a photo or take a video, and then also asking Tim to kiss something. So Tim is asked by Denthead guy to kiss his soup elbow. And then just a couple scenes later, Tim bursts into the door of almost like the janitor's place at the apartment. There's this big fat guy with the shirt off about to join into coitus with this lady. And this guy thinks Tim is as a private investigator. And his plan that he concocts to get out of the whole thing is he tells Tim that he's going to have to take a picture of him kissing this lady, whatever her name is, Brenda. I don't remember what her name was.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. That whole scene again, just so intense, and you can't leave the scene. It's like what they do a really good job of. It doesn't make me feel comfortable. It makes me feel uncomfortable, but it's like put you in a scene. So like you're, Ron, right. And you feel like trapped. Cause I felt trapped in that moment. Didn't you? Like, how are we getting out of this? And he's like, just, sweating. I was like, okay, we'll figure this out. And he's like, there's nothing to figure out.
Yeah. It's so absurdist and so surreal. And of course, a chase in a Tim Robinson show involves him going down a hallway and walking through 3 mattresses. 3 mattresses just standing there.
Weird.
And then taking a turn into a door, and the guy's about to have sex with this lady and then puts a gun to his head.
Right before that. No, I was just say right before that, the guy climbed up the pole. Do you remember?
And he hit him with the top hat.
Yeah.
He knocked him off the pole with the top hat. Again, a top hat theme.
These are fantastical things. I think we're all coming to the same conclusion at this point. Come on. This is a dream world. This is not a thing. And it's fun because he can have best of both worlds. He can have tell a story, but he knows ultimately that, him being like the writers, Tim, and they just know it's not real. By having a fantasy world like that, you could do it whatever you want. So wouldn't that be a fun, allowance? By the way, we didn't talk about 2 things real quick. One, Mike's apartment, madness, complete utter madness. That also made me feel uncomfortable. Also reminds me of Beau is Afraid. So if you watch Beau is Afraid, it's literally from that. They must have watched that movie where the neighbors are like the most insane neighbors you've ever heard. And he's fine with it. That's unsettling. Yeah. Right. Mike just being fine with.
During the whole time, someone's yelling, almost screaming, like it's an insane asylum. Like you're in Arkham. But also when he walks in, Mike is mouthing a monologue from a horribly profane dude.
I hate
You know,
those. I hate those. It's like the bad jerky boys. But my favorite part I want to mention is that he does. Why don't you eat something? You eat something, and then he just pulls up this thing. He doesn't know what it is. He's like, "This is chicken." I feel like he improv that scene. That whole scene just felt like improv, and just like glorious for me. I love that little moment. And we didn't talk about Doug, who I remembered his name now, Douglas.
yeah. Which
To our
that's a key
listeners.
thing. So, I mean, it wasn't a big episode focused on the office life. I mean, it was a smaller part of this episode because so much of it was on the crazy pursuit of these leads. But yeah, you're right. Douglas comes back. He's wheeled into the office. Everyone's like, Douglas back. And as we find out, I think we found out last episode, he's under a refrigerator. But he tells the tale of basically being sitting there for days. He eats food out of the freezer, and he had time to think, and he feels bad about his party, and he apologized to everyone.
Yeah. But also then immediately he is a dick again. So what I've decided,
Yeah.
and I wrote this down in my notes, Douglas is a dick. Like that could be the name of the episode because he just is. Like the one time I felt bad for him with the bubbles, I realized that I shouldn't have felt bad for him. He was the enemy all along. I'm not a Douglas fan. And I love the actor, obviously the writer, Jim Downey. He's like incredible. And he's very funny. And he's in One Battle After Another in a very good role. But in this one, yeah, I think they made him a jerk. I think he's a jerk. They
made him a jerk, and he shows it in a couple ways. In that he tells Ron that he's not going to let him lollygag on the access for wheelchairs, but also, and then when he's wheeling by, is it Doris? Or what he's like, pick your bag off the floor,
get your
Doris.
bags off the course. Yeah,
which is
silly.
Funny. And so
that's kind of the episode to the very ending. Are we there yet?
I think I want to talk a bit about kind of the concussion and stuff. And so,
he gets in an accident. Yeah, that's right.
He gets hit on the head by the iPad, and then we wakes up in the hospital. And what's funny is like when he opens his eyes, he sees some weird dude smiling at him, which kind of looks like the denthead guy, like this weird dude sitting in the hospital bed next to him. And makes me think, okay, that's part of his dream sequence, or this guy featured in it. And Mike comes in, and the nurse says, only family members. And then this is where Ron says he's a family member. And Mike remembers that because Mike, just a little bit later in the episode, basically feels like he and Ron are family.
But it's a fake out. They basically set you. No, they fake you out as an audience member. Because that's what they did to me, which is they set up this weird scene in the beginning. Because that person next to him was smiling way too much, and then the brotherly love or family like love between him and Mike all of a sudden, and then the text message, blah blah blah, and then bam, that ending. So it's like
you're skipping over the fact we get a little bit of information on Mike. He sees a family. He's at the door of his daughter. He talks about how he's been a bad parent this whole time. And it's a Scrooge reference. It's another Scrooge reference. He says, I don't want to be at the end of my life and realize I was a bad parent, like Scrooge.
Okay. That seems important. Yes. Because of what we're about to talk about. But yeah, like I'm scrubbing through the episode, and there is a few more scenes, including him doing the him at the site, which happens at the very end.
Yeah, he basically, so that was his excuse to go on this very long journey to find this little guy. Because that, if you remember, that was like almost like a half day trip.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And so they go off, and he does actually make his way back to watch this kind of dynamiting.
Yeah, they're like breaking ground or something.
Yeah, and the weird thing is, as he's walking away, one of his coworkers watching. But you're right. I think we're at the final scene, which is all really anyone could talk about online. If you look at the online discussion, there's been a couple articles about it. This was like a very kind of crazy scene. Like, I don't know were you expecting it?
No, not at all. And I was expecting, okay, there's another Scrooge reference. And I Think You Should Leave. There's a sketch with Sam, and it's Scrooge. It's important to bring this up. You know that sketch, right? The Scrooge from the future and the bones and the skeletons.
Yeah.
Remember? So that's definitely a reference. He loves skeletons. He loves bones. He loves Scrooge. So I knew the Scrooge reference would probably come back, and like a fake movie. People online were asking, "Is this a real movie?" No, of course not. And on top of that, it's a prosthetic. I zoomed in. I checked it out. It's like not a real person. So it's something they made for the movie, and they do that all the time. They make fake movies. That's like what they do. So I think that didn't surprise me because I was like, oh, they're bringing back the reference, and he loves Scrooge. But the last like actual scene of, can we say it on the internet?
Well, I think anyone who's listening to this, like, you should know that there's lots of spoilers, right? So this, you would already have watched the scene. What was funny about it is there's been so much conversation on the Reddit threads and online about how people are watching either with their older parents or they're watching with their kids, and how uncomfortable it was to see essentially a porn scene. It was a real life porn scene. And I dropped a Forbes article into our Facebook group about how this is maybe the first time they ever showed actual full A show or this type of gone to this level on HBO.
Which is a huge article, and people are talking about it. And now I have like, it's probably a whole other episode worth of topic, because I do have thoughts on this and censorship, because I think it is weird right now in this current state of, censorship. But in this type of show, and it being essentially an R-rated show, because that's what it is. TV mature is R-rated. So that's not even NC-17, which NC-17 can show more. So I think it's just weird for that sake, right? Because it's not like in anything else. Like, you don't see that much in anything else. That being said, it is fake, and I'm sure they'll come out and talk about it at some point. And we have seen fake stuff happen that's pretty intense in other movies. I think I have. But here's my biggest thing, and this is what I texted you earlier. And so I didn't want to be a Debbie Downer the whole episode because I still enjoy it. I still like this show. I'm still obsessed. But I was like angry at that scene last night because the two things. One, I just mentioned, is that the flip is this like loving like partnership with him and Mike. And it's like the last thing is his texting him, being like, thanks for helping me, buddy. And then it's this scene and it's Mike. So it just puts like a, pun intended, bad taste in my mouth. Because I just go like, oh, I don't know. I feel weird now, like I know people
dirty.
Watch that stuff.
You felt dirty.
It just felt weird. And so then like it flipped that thing of like wholesome. I'm supposed to feel like wholesome about this moment. And now I don't know how to feel. And the second thing, like I texted you, is it serves no purpose. And I would like to talk to people online and you as well right now, if you think it does. Because in my opinion, it literally does nothing for this show. Retort.
It reminds me, going back to the idea that this is a fever dream, and all the different things that are swirling through Ron's head are being mixed up. And he knows that Mike is this, and maybe this is a problem of Ron. If Mike is a figment of Ron's imagination, maybe Ron has a porn addiction or something. But Mike as a character has a porn addiction. He's creepy with all the media he consumes. And we see that very viscerally in the final scene of this episode. And it was just all these different elements of Mike's character and all the different recurring themes throughout this episode of the Scrooge. Scrooge just kept coming up the whole episode. And Mike's porn addiction has just been something we've seen throughout all the different episodes. And so I think that was just a final, very visceral reminder of that at the end.
Kind of, but I want to just put an asterisk next to porn addiction because he just liked pretty ladies. Like he wasn't watching it all the time, was he?
When he's sitting outside of Ron's house that night, making sure that no bad guys get in.
Oh, that's right. He said, yeah.
Yeah. I feel like if it's not an outright addiction, it's definitely an attachment or attraction to watching lots of porn. So I'm not making a judgment here. I just think that's part of Mike's character.
No, yeah, I get it.
And to what point does anything make if you say this adds absolutely nothing, what does anything add to it? There's all this absurdist stuff keeps happening. This whole show keeps breaking expectations and shocking us at every turn. I think this was just another one of those.
I get that, but it's a different kind of shock. It's a shock that goes, no other show is doing it. So it breaks the fourth wall. That's the problem I have with it. There you go. I just figured out the problem. It gets me out of the universe. Now I don't like it. I'm going to go back, obviously, watch the next episode, but it breaks the fourth wall and says hey, can HBO do this? That was the discussion, and that is the discussion. So it's about like, was it real? Is it, what is it from? And now we're not even talking about the universe. So I hate it. I hate that scene. I don't mind like watching that, for like entertainment purposes. But I don't like it in this at all.
It's funny if you think about all people really remember from Boogie Nights is when he drops his pants in the mirror, like it shows.
Boogie Nights is a great film. It's a great film.
Member, but like we forget about everything, and yeah, I do worry a bit that this is all the people are going to talk about. Is that crazy? Maybe somewhat groundbreaking scene, and groundbreaking in the sense that like this is probably the first time that was ever seen on HBO and actually actively show. The article in Forbes that talked about this said that it's HBO's policy that no actual sex can take place in the filming of any of their shows. So to your point, it was was a fake member or whatever you want to call it. It was, or just CGI or whatever. You wonder also what Tim and Zach were thinking. I think they just do everything that makes themselves laugh. I have noticed on a lot of HBO shows, more than anything, you will see male genitalia. I've noticed that like on a couple of shows. I think the Seth Rogen show earlier this year, The Studio, I think you saw it there.
Oh, did you?
If I remember correctly. So I think that is just a boundary that's pushed on HBO more than anywhere else. But I think Zach and Tim made this choice maybe because they thought it was funny. I don't necessarily do think they would do it to maybe just create conversation. Well, so that's a legitimate question. Why did they do it?
Yeah, it is a legitimate question because I don't even understand. There's no humor there. Like, there's no humor there. The humor would be that he's watching a Scrooge porn. Like, that's funny, right? You go, okay, we bring it all around.
That is kind of funny, though. That is kind of funny.
Right. That's the punchline, is that it is that. You don't have to show that. Then you just turn it into like something else. By the way, we're going to get to the socials here at the end, but I'm looking at the Facebook page and it says Jeff was mentioning how he was mad because he was watching with people who are younger and it was weird. And that, sure, like you said earlier, that happened for a lot of people. A lot of people just, enjoyed it anyhow. But that's it. I just don't. Yeah, I stand by my text last night, and I was like, I don't like that it lasted in the scene. I don't like it.
Yeah, it was a darker episode. Watching last night, tired from going to bed. It's like, this is such chaos. This episode is such chaos and so much darker than the last episode. But then watching it again, I kind of liked it more this morning and today because if it makes me think of what they're trying to do is create like this essentially dream sequence, this fever dream, like mission accomplished. It was really interesting to your point. Like, is it Lynchian, whatever? I just thought it was really inventive, and I wasn't as bothered by that final scene, I think, as you were. It didn't really bother me as much. I thought it was funny how people were talking about how they're watching with their older parents who they just turned on to the show, or they're watching it as a family with their younger kids.
Yeah. Well, and also it's just, like you said, the just uncomfortable moments in it. I don't know. I definitely like episode 2 and this episode have maybe go like, because I love Tim and I love humor and I love comedy and I like weird dark stuff and I love Lynch. But if it doesn't feel right, it doesn't like, what's the word? Connect with you, then it makes you just feel uncomfortable. And like you said, at the end of a long day to watch this episode, like to watch last episode at the end of a long day was fun to me. I was like, I was all in on everything that happened last episode. And then this one, I was like, ooh, this is a little heavy. But let's move on to socials. Is that the end of the episode? That is.
Yeah, there's a few things. Let's talk about socials in terms of comments. And then also just, I want to talk about the social presence online of the chair company, which we started to notice more this week.
I'm just going to mention that Tekka does have a TikTok. So that's what we were talking about earlier. And we think that that's from the company, from the show, because the TikTok looks legit. Like, it doesn't look like just somebody randomly made it.
I think one of the things that I like nowadays with good TV is seeing online social presences that purport to be or pretending to be part of the world. I'm a fan of The Boys, which is a show on Amazon, and they do a really great job creating a social media that is the company, and you think it's the company. When I saw this TikTok, the TikTok is basically Tekka chairs. People should check it out on TikTok. But they're showing training videos. They're showing the CEO getting mad about all the rumors around online. They're showing customer support people. It's really well done. And that's why it makes me think, like you said, it's an HBO production. It's not like just some rando person doing an AI generated content. It feels like it's professional.
Oh, it has to be, because I'm just looking at a picture right now, and it's like a guy with like crazy eyes and a red ball in the background at Tekka.
Yep.
And it's like kind of, again, David Lynch, like really intense. By the way, some of this is probably AI. I'm looking at some of it and I'm like, it seems like some of it's not filmed. So yeah, anyways, so that's out there.
And then also we noticed this week, there's an actual website, a chair company, Tekka company website, which I found the link to from their, I think their Instagram or from their TikTok. And it looks like that's also a production of HBO. But if you navigate around, it's pretty funny. And you can actually order merch. So if you want to order some chair company merch, you can order a hat or a t-shirt. And I ordered a t-shirt.
Before we go to the podcast comments, this was just dropped 6 minutes ago. Andrew on the Facebook page. This show is too much, LOL. But David Lynch still lives. I'm telling you, people are finally coming around. I said episode 1, I was like, this is a Lynchian show.
Comments on Spotify from the last episode. You and I are both discussing this. We don't always get all the facts straight, and sometimes we miss some stuff. So we apologize about that.
We apologize. And
I was asking about the dog because I remember at the end of this episode 4, which was the episode when we started to wonder if Ron had cracked and his daughter knew it. The final episode, Ron is sitting there talking to his dog about his Jeep company tour. I'm like, what happened to the dog? Is the dog in the current universe? And Ryan on our Spotify comments said the dog died.
Yeah,
I missed that. I apologize, everyone.
We missed a major the dog point. Dying. Sorry.
And to that point of us continuing to miss stuff, someone said these hosts need to pay closer attention. It's pretty bad to miss things. The connection between the use of the name Doug and the Phrygians. Anyway, so every now and then we do miss some stuff. Casual fans probably don't mind so much. Hardcore fans, yeah.
Well, I think there's two things here in those comments. It is, I've listened to other shows, and we both have done many podcasts, but like there's a lot of other shows that kind of deep dive into a podcast, and they are really intense. They really, really go into every little thing. And I think that sometimes people think that that's what's going to happen, obviously, when you have a podcast fan show. We both are just like casual fans, but like also I'm 100% crazy for comedy. So like that's where I like get nerdy about stuff, and I will nerd out over those little scenes. I don't know
if
stuff.
You'd call us casual Tim Robinson fans. We're pretty hardcore.
Not casual Tim Robinson,
fans.
Casual like talking about a show after. You know what I mean? Like I feel like there's a different type of podcasters. Like, but although we have notes. We're
trying to be somewhat organized. We're creating some.
We are, yeah. Anyways, I think that was the main stuff. I'm still in. I just don't like the ending. And I thought that whole episode was pretty tough. I think the beginning was chill and fun, and then it got just chaos, and it really didn't let up until the very end, until he got into a coma.
Okay, a few loose threads that we just want to mention before we want to button or kind of footnote or a bookmark. Maybe that's a word before we
do any of those things.
I'm going to do some of that. Brenda suggested to Ron that they need to have a conversation when he gets back. That's a thing we're going to probably learn about next week.
That's
what is
right.
That?
That's about him asking for money.
Okay. That's probably it.
Yep.
And also we didn't see the wife at all in this, hardly, besides the departure scene.
Mm-hmm.
Where was the wife? How did she not know he was in the hospital? That was kind of weird. But also, what were Tim's kid and Natalie's fiance talking about?
I don't know. I tried to listen just now in the second listen.
It was quiet, and I listened in, and she said something like, "It's your life. Your parents are your parents. It's your life." So it's like, I almost think that the son has a secret now.
But then, didn't they say malls at the end? I feel like they said we were talking about malls.
Yeah, that was them kind of trying to change the subject.
Hiding it. Okay, yeah.
They were hiding it. So they were talking about something. And then that's where Ron is listening in. And that's, again, another dream thing. You're trying to hear dialogue. You can't quite hear
it. Yeah. Because he's in his dream, which now we're like fully in this idea that he's thinking about his son, right? Like if you go down that rabbit hole, it would be perfectly explaining like him and those scenes with his daughter, You know what I mean? Those scenes with his son and the beer. It's like they feel like a Hallmark thing, right?
Yeah.
And that's what a memory would be, or a thought in a dream, because he's like, oh, I really want to be the best, father and blah blah blah. So, yeah.
And we didn't really talk at all about the shell company, the Red Ball Marketing Corp. But Ron believes now that it's all a shell company and that they're actors. I think that's interesting. We also learned that Mike has maybe a life, or maybe has someone chasing him. That guy in the bar basically says, someone will be glad to know you're back in town. Is that something we're going to learn about more? Or you think that's something we'll hear more about?
It's tough to I don't want to say care, but if we go down this route of like it being a dream, does it matter?
You're right.
You know
Everything that could be significant is really insignificant, because it's just another.
It just dissolves all of our little plot lines, which I don't think that's good, because then we can't be excited about like, well, what does that mean? What does that mean? What's the bug mean? If the bug is just the dream part,
if the bug is like a paranoia part of his general belief that the deep state or whatever is keeping an eye on him, but also then he's got a double meaning. I'm not going to say it's 100% certainty this is all a dream. I feel like there's still an outside chance that maybe there is some sort of conspiracy. There's also the chance like both things can exist. Like he maybe could be losing it. Maybe he's a little bit crazy. Maybe some of it's part of a dream, but also maybe there is some truth to like a dream sequence. I don't know. Is it possible to have both of these worlds?
Go back. Who hired Mike again?
The guy who was a person getting lots of money. Yeah, he's getting lots of money.
Oh, the M, like he had a last name X or something, right?
Yeah,
Mr. X or whatever. But like, so
50,000. Who said he was getting rich?
Right. So if we watch that real quick, this is the thread I want to pull at the very end. If we watch that is the impetus to this whole show. Okay, that is the impetus, because that makes something real. Right before that, nothing happened. Really, nothing happened. He fell in a chair, right? And he went down his own little rabbit hole. None of that. If he can't get customer support, it doesn't matter. I don't believe anything happened until that moment, until he gets a hit by an actual person, unless it's in his mind. But if that is real and things are real, we need to figure that out. Like, we have not even got back to this Mr. X person.
Yeah.
That is wherever it starts. Yeah.
And so someone said on the Facebook page, are we getting Fight Clubbed? The Fight Club route is if Mike is imaginary or part of Ron's personality. The other option is like it's a St. Elsewhere, where like he wakes up and it's all a dream. Wakes up and it's just like a snow globe. This is either a big snow globe, or we're getting Fight Clubbed, or there's a small chance that this is actually happening in the real world.
And it could be in the real world, and it could just be like clunky and weird, and he would like that too. I think the writing staff would like that too. Like, this is just weird, funny things that happen in a world. But I really do see the way that they keep having him wake up from things. It's a pretty easy, it seems like straightforward. Like, he's going to wake up at the end. It's going to be funny.
Here's another thought. This is a world where maybe Tim and Zach want to create season 2. Maybe they hang us off a cliff on the whole reveal. Maybe we never find out if it's a dream, if he's crazy, or if this is actually happening in the real world, or maybe that's season 2. Because I want to know if there's going to be another season.
Yeah, they would bring us along before that. I mean, they would bring us along either way. But and by the way, here's the last potential clue. In Friendship, which I've rewatched now and is better on the second watch, because it was just a paranoid craziness the first time, but I do like it a little better on the second watch. The subway scene, right? What is the subway scene, Mike? It is a freaking dream, right?
Oh yeah,
yeah. He wakes up from that little crazy thing that goes on, and none of it was real. And he wakes up, and he's like, "Is that it?"
Yeah, he went through the whole sandwich order, which was and it was really funny. It was my favorite scene of the whole show.
Me too.
And I was kind of disappointed it was a dream sequence, but you knew pretty quick it was.
Yeah. And then there was that weird guy doing it too, like the server. But anyways, there's another dream. So it's in their vocabulary.
It's in their toolbox. We'll have to
wait and see. Yes.
All right, folks. As always, if you haven't subscribed, please do give us a review. Join the Facebook page. It's actually just a general fan group Facebook page on Facebook for the Cheer Company. But yeah, keep the comments coming. We love to hear them, and we'll try to read some of them during the show.
And I want to say this. Thank you for all of our listeners and followers. We have 100 people on Facebook already, and it's growing. Like right now, it just grew again. Like a few more people just joined. And then our podcast numbers are kind of crazy right now. So thank you so much for listening. Mike and I both do podcasts and shows in a myriad of different ways, food tech and technology and gaming and all these different things, comedy. But this is something we came together because we're both such a big fans of Tim, and we kind of just did it because we wanted to do it. And then to see like a ton of people show up to listen is kind of crazy.
We appreciate it. And we'll keep doing it. And you guys keep listening.
All right.
Thanks,
see you
everyone.
next episode.
Bye.
Bye.